What's up, YouTube? This is a video from September 3rd. These are our Southern Yellowjackets, also known as Vespula Squamosa. This is a ground nest that was on the far side of my yard. As you can see here, there was two entrances to this nest. To do this removal, I used dust. As you can see here, I'm applying dust to that first hole. And then about 2 to 3 feet away from that first hole was the second entrance in. Typically, these Southern Yellowjacket nests have paper on the outside at the ground, right where the hole is. The reason you're not seeing that is these two entrances, as well as a totally different nest about 40 yards away, had recently been dug at by, I'm assuming, a skunk, probably the night prior even, I would say. The other colony, which I don't have on here, had been completely dug out and carried off before I got there. All right, so I'm continuing to apply the dust. So this is obviously a different method than what I used about a week ago on another ground nest that I have a video of. Those were actually Eastern Yellowjackets. As I said in the beginning of this video, these are Southern Yellowjackets. So typically these are the most aggressive ones we have in the area. They're even more aggressive than the Easterns. Doing the dust method today and just intentionally not getting them riled up, there was a lot less drama than the other video that I had posted. But if you hadn't seen that video, I'll put a link here to go check it out. I actually get stung 7 times. I had some break into my suit while I was doing that removal. Even though I was able to kind of avoid the defensive swarm, you'll see here in a moment how many foragers are returning and how active this is. This was all one cut. I hadn't edited the video since I started. So you can see here some of the numbers are already starting to kind of pile up. And you can also see that these are kind of just basically hovering at that hole. They didn't come out and do like a defensive swarm. Here's a little bit of another shot. You can see just those are the foragers coming back just in that last like 2-minute session. All right, now I'm going to use some Raid Flying Insect spray just to kind of knock down some of these ones that are flying around right there. And basically what I'm going to do is give this about 10 or 15 minutes to do its thing. I really didn't feel like messing with these Southern ones today, getting them all riled up. I know it kind of makes for a better video, but after being stung the week prior so many times, I was good with a nice calm removal. All right, so this is about 15 minutes later. Like I said, I had let that dust kind of do its thing. And I'm just coming back now, spraying a little bit of the ones that are floating around. Typically, once you dust, they don't just go right back in that hole. I have learned with these ground nests to try to keep the entrance holes intact even when you dig them up. So what I'm doing right now is just using a small crowbar, and I'm basically just pushing it in. And what I'm trying to find is that void where the nest cavity is. And you'll see here in a moment, a couple more tries, and I will find it, and you'll see that handle go straight in. Okay, right there, that was practically no resistance whatsoever once I got past the sod. So I know that's where the cavity is. All right, so what I'm going to do now is just remove that pry bar and then throw some dust directly there on that cavity, just ensuring that I got the full cavity covered now. What I was suspecting was by this point the dust had pretty much done its job, but that was just a little bit of an additional insurance for me. All right, now it's time to dig this out. What I'm trying to do is just keep the shovel on the outer edges of the cavity. So I'm trying to be real careful here, and you'll see in a second. I was a little bit off, and when you're pushing in, it takes zero force whatsoever once you hit that cavity. So that shovel just went right in. You'll be able to see once I get this dug up, though. The cavity was about the size of, I would say it was just smaller than a soccer ball. And as you can see, it was pretty much directly below that sod layer. So even with the first shovel full there, I was starting to already pull nest out. Now, there were still some survivors in there. I would say mostly the immature adults. So I hit this with a little more dust yet again. Just really making sure that I get that queen once I do get these layers out. A nest like this would have started with one fertile queen from last year. In the spring at some point, she would have located this. This was probably some kind of mole or other rodent tunnel. And then she flew in, started the colony, started to make comb, lay eggs, and the colony eventually, expanded out. So right about this time of the year, we're just starting into peak season for these nests. But you'll see how much ground they did carry out, how much they excavated out as they built this. It's pretty crazy considering how small these things are. So there's the top layer of comb there. And all those white cells you're seeing are pupating adults. So this nest was about to absolutely explode in the next week, I would say. All right, I'm going to keep digging here. I'm trying to get a good angle so that I can try to get this out as intact as possible. I know I haven't really got too many close shots with the camera. I will bring that in soon, so just stay tuned. Okay, just hitting them one last time with some more flying insect spray. And that's mainly for the foragers that were slowly building up. I mean, for the amount that was outside the nest, it could take them an hour or even longer to all return. But here I'll get you some little bit closer shots of this cavity and the comb. So again, all those white cells you're seeing, those are pupating adults that sometime, within the next week would have been emerging out as new workers and or new queens or drones. So you can see even that second layer had a ton of those white pupating adult capped cells. Now, the majority of the cells that you are seeing on these combs are just workers, but spread around some of the different layers of the comb, you'll see some larger cells. Those are either the queen cells for the queens that will be next year's queens, or the male drones. So some of those had already hatched out, but there was several in there that were still capped over. All right, here's a shot inside this cavity. So, as I said earlier, I would say it's just a little smaller than a soccer ball. Most of that cavity was filled up with this comb. And then there was a space in between the comb and the walls of the ground where they were excavating and expanding out as they built the nest up. That's pretty much going to be it for this video. If you like these kind of videos, I will have a pinned comment down below that goes to my playlist that has some of my other removals. This is just one method. I typically will use a shop vac with a little bit of soapy water inside to get them out. Those tend to be a little bit more of an exciting video to watch. But I have other videos for aerial nests and some cavity ones and stuff like that. So if you did like this video, please like and consider subscribing. If you have any questions, please comment below and I'll try to get back to you with an answer. All right, thank you.